Carter, a couple of hits in that first frame, drove in a run. Jayla Torrence remains in the circle. The Crimson Tide on in relief of Kayla Beaver. It's a 1-0 game deep into the night on Friday. It went 9 innings, 2 extra frames there. 5-1 yesterday. Arkansas victorious the first night. Bama yesterday. Carter, the surge into left field. Third hit already for Nia Carter. And don't forget, coming up tomorrow night, we've got playoff action. The Stanley Cup playoffs are back. Up first at 7 and 7:30. Pair of game twos. Maple Leafs and Bruins, Islanders and Hurricanes. One on ESPN, the other on E2. Same thing for the nightcap at 9:30. Golden Knights, Stars, and you've got the Oilers and the Kings. We look forward to those matchups. 9:30 and 10 o'clock Eastern, ESPN and ESPN2. And they're out to check on Jayla Torrence, who took a shot off of that left shoulder, and she will be replaced. A 7-0 ball game. You know, battling that sunshine and that wind, not only these two programs this weekend here in Fayetteville, but your trusted broadcasting crew, Madison Shipman, Roy Philpott, and we've enjoyed our time here. And right now looks like a potential big Game 3 victory for the Hawks.
Well, and this is the thing that they've been waiting for their offense to finally have that explosion. And you just heard Coach Deifel talking about it, the sense of relief that the entire team felt when Bri Ellis finally left the yard with that big 2-run shot. Really just got a little bit of everything going, and the adjustments that they made off of Kayla Beaver, too. She was really efficient in Game 1. You mentioned going into extra innings, and finally took that one hit in the 9th for Arkansas to be able to come out on top. But their offense making adjustments, being really patient on both sides of the plate, forcing her to come into the zone and capitalizing when she did. A bit of an uncharacteristic outing for Kayla Beaver, but Arkansas was able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, it happens. We showed you the SEC standings as we got things underway earlier today. Importance of this game, the importance of this series. Johnson now the new pitcher, the sophomore right-hander wearing number 55 from Fairhope, Alabama. And Patrick Murphy making that change after a solid appearance out of the bullpen from Jayla Torrence.
Bailey Johnson just going to come into this ball game and try to throw something a little bit different at these Arkansas batters. You're going to see her throw majority changeup. She likes to work that off-speed pitch in there, but she's going to need to control that strike zone with her screwball, her curveball, her rise ball, and really work the edges of that zone. Because so far in today's ball game, Arkansas has been very disciplined up at the plate, just trying to wait on that mistake.
Torrence, 2 1/3 innings, coming out of the bullpen. That most important number there, right in the center. No earned runs, almost 50 pitches.
Came in and did her job. Limited the free passes too. Just gave up the 1 walk, but got her team out of that first inning where things were spiraling out of control. And you can see her having a conversation with the starting pitcher, Kayla Beaver, over in that dugout.
Now, you mentioned what stars will shine brightest in the SEC tournament as we get deeper into May. NCAA tournament. Kayla Beaver, despite the start today, you think we understand what she brings to the circle, but potentially could be one of those lockdown players that sends Alabama back to the Women's College World Series in OKC. A lot of work to be done between now and then. Bri Ellis behind the count, of ball and 2 strikes with Nia Carter at first. And Johnson working quickly. Fires out of the zone too high.
Doesn't take a lot of time in between pitches, just gets right back on that rubber, fires the next pitch. She's already thrown 1 changeup for a strike to Bri Ellis in this at-bat, low in the zone. Goes back with a curveball there. You got to be careful with the changeups to Bri Ellis because she has so much power in that swing. This is a rise ball up and inside. The way that she's able to get extension, use her lower half to provide the power in that swing. Such good plate coverage, both inside and outside.
It's a rise ball that ended up in the parking lot.
I'm glad I parked at the very back of the parking lot so that my car is safe out there.
I see your neon vehicle.
Oh yeah, you can see it.
Appears to be okay. But if you park out there in left field or right behind the scoreboard, you're doing so at your own risk. I assume the signs are out there. And Ellis rung up on strikes. Caught looking.
Brie Ellis is a very good changeup hitter. So far this year, she's batting over 400 on the changeup, and the fact that Ailey Johnson throws it here in a full count just shows you how much confidence she has in that pitch. She gets the call low in the zone and rings up Ellis.
Kylie Halverson takes inside for ball one. Carter remains at first base with one away here in the bottom of the fourth. I mean, seriously, if you park out there in left field, chances are, if you come to 1 or 2 games a weekend, I mean, you are within that firing range there. And there's the one vehicle of Madison Shipman. They decided to give her the most brilliant color, shall we say.
You know what?
Jeep Wrangler.
If you've seen me zipping around Fayetteville the past couple of days,
honk your horn, say
I've
hello.
been enjoying driving that vehicle around. I think it's a far enough distance away. I don't know.
Brie Ellis begs to differ.
Yeah, some of these players have a lot of power. A lot more power than I ever had.
What was the longest home run you ever hit?
I was happy if it just made it over the fence, Roy.
You're so humble. So humble. 3-1 to Halverson. And a line drive straightaway center. That is off the very top of the wall. Carter racing to third, which Deifel will put up the stop sign. And a one-out double and a rocket off the bat of Kylie Halverson.
We talked about it at the beginning of the game that Kylie Halverson is going to be a big piece for this offense because of how many teams like to pitch around Brie Ellis, and she has stepped up in the 4th spot for Arkansas, drilling this pitch out to center field a couple of inches away from a 2-run home run. Bounces off that center field wall, just continuing to swing a really hot bat for Arkansas.
10th double of the season for Halverson. Here's Hannah Gamble. Well, Gamble has seen her teammate Brie Ellis leave the ballpark earlier. Halverson nearly did it there. And plenty of pop in the bat. Nearly half of her hits have been home runs. That one with distance. That hooking foul. Well, the firing range that way leads you to a parade of different golf cart sized vehicles. We mentioned that last night.
I think they might be trying to hit my car now that we've talked about it, my rental car. Maybe the golf cart out there?
Straightaway center. Could be deep enough for the sac fly. Tracking is Lauren Johnson. And the 8th run of the game scores for the Hawks. Carter slides in safely. Sac fly RBI for Gamble, or 32nd of the season.
Arkansas doing a nice job of getting Barrow underneath these pitches, driving it out into the grass, trying to make something happen, score more runs. A little bit of fundamental softball right there from Hannah Gamble. Getting it deep enough out into center field to score Carter easily from third base.
Well, the 8 runs scored by the Razorbacks today, the most they have scored against Bama since 2012. An offensive clinic of sorts happening so far in a variety of different ways. Arkansas has found to touch home plate.
And that 8th run important too because it puts them into run rule territory as we head into the 5th inning after this one.
I'm not going to quote Coach Murphy on how the runs were scored in the first inning, but he used a variety of different phrases that were colorful in nature.
Talked about the defense quite a bit, just some missed opportunities with the defense to get a couple more outs. That seems to be something that Alabama has focused on really the past couple of weeks. Had several series where they've made 7 or more errors as a team, and when you've got pitchers that rely on the defense to make plays, not a good combination.
Freshman catcher Kennedy Miller reached a couple of times. Base hit, make it a 9-run affair. Hitting nearly 460 with runners in scoring position this year. Asked Courtney Deifel 2 weeks ago before the series against Mizzou, how hard is it for a freshman to come in and play and be a contributor the way that Miller has? She said it's not that uncommon for any other spot maybe outside of being a catcher. just the way she has solidified things behind home plate. You talked a little bit about her defense earlier, but for a good portion, first part of the season, first half of the season, she led the Hogs in batting average.
When I talked to Coach Courtney Deifel just about how she's been able to do that as just a freshman, said that she is not a player that rides the highs or the lows. She stays really even keel, and that's what helps her be focused day in and day out and not worry too much about the little things, not worry too much about the numbers, but she's just going out there purely trying to help her team in any way that she can. Has a really high standard for herself too, and it's not easy, like you mentioned, to go back there and manage a variety of different arms.
She'll stay alive, and that is the other thing Coach Deifel has mentioned several occasions. Doesn't have many bad at-bats. And making Johnson work ever since the word here. Ninth pitch seen by Miller. And a fly ball to left. Johnson underneath. Retire the side. Hogs add a run. Warnings in the books. 8-0 our score in Fayetteville.
No, we needed, right?
Holy cow. Madison Shipman, Roy Philpott back in Fayetteville, and Alabama needs a run here in the top half of the fifth inning to keep this game going.
Coach
And
Murphy
Arkansas, excuse me, go ahead, Madison.
I was going to say, Coach Murphy just trying to change things up a little bit, bringing in Kristen White into this ball game.
First time we've seen her. She's batting leadoff a good portion last week. Wants her to see more pitches, take more pitches. I was going to say, Bama has run ruled Arkansas 12 times. Nearly 80 games in the series history. Arkansas has never run ruled Bama. Never. Speaks to the early dominance by the Crimson Tide before this last stretch. Going back to about 2018, Hogs were 6-57 against Bama before that season. 0-2 in rubber matches all time versus the Tide. But since 2018, Arkansas 7-8 against the Tide, and now 2-2 in rubber matches before today. On the verge of improving to 3-2 in that department. And the 3-1 low and away. Leadoff batter is aboard in Kristen White. Let's look at the all-time series between these two. 65-15, an advantage for the Tide. Pinch hitter checking in as well. Esmond will be the Bama batter. Lauren Esmond, the graduate, Kalamazoo, Michigan. Over to second. Quickly, Halverson gets the force out there. The lead runner, Kristen White, is retired.
Nice backhanded play there by Kylie Halverson, working her way up the middle. Easy glove toss to her shortstop for out number one. Razorbacks have played some pretty solid defense today.
Kat Grill, the pinch hitter, 32 for the Crimson Tide. She'll step in against Linestock. Trying to go the distance, shorter fashion. 0-1. Senior from right there in T-Town.
Coach Murphy bringing in all the lefties so far in this inning. Pinch hit lefties to face Morgan Linestock. Her splits do show that she is a bit more effective against right-handed batters than she is left-handed batters. Not by much, but just a little bit, trying to take advantage of that. Get one run across here in the top of the fifth any way they can.
1-2. It's a 7-run explosion in the first. One more in the fourth. Hogs trying to win another series against a ranked team from the SEC. Grill gave that one a run down the left field line before it sliced foul. Razorbacks seeking that first home series victory against the Tide. 6 years.
Really nice bounce back appearance for Morgan Leinstock in the circle too, and it's hard to say that after the start that she got off to in game 1, but coming in that 5th inning in game 2, gave up the big 3-run shot to Jenna Johnson. Just didn't quite have the command of that drop ball when she came into the game yesterday. But so far today has really settled in. The first couple of at-bats, it seemed like the drop ball was hanging up in the zone a bit more, but she's continued to work that changeup, especially in the middle part of this ball game. Battled through some tough, lengthy at-bats, a couple of infield hits, but really just trusted her defense to help her get out of some of those innings.
Grill doing her very best to keep this AB going. Interesting weekend here with the late night heroics. Camazin on Friday in game 1. I mentioned the 3-run homer hit by Jenna Johnson yesterday in game 2 for the Tide. That was kind of the inning that got things cooking, and what a stop by Bri Ellis. Looked like she was trending the opposite direction, came back towards the bag, stabbed it off the dirt for out number 2.
Those are the types of defensive plays that pitchers just love to see being made behind them. Diving to her left, this one's hit hard off of the bat of Kat Grill. Knows exactly where she's at, immediately gets that second out at first base. This infield ready for those ground balls coming right at him.
It's all up to the top of the order. Kinley, Cahalan. 0-1. Search of her first hit today. And Leinstock, a strike away. And the fans at Bogle Park rise to their feet. The 0-2. Ground ball to second. Halverson up with it over to Ellis. And Arkansas takes the series against Alabama. And the Hawks run rule the Crimson Tide here at home. Final score 8-0.
Razorbacks winning this one in dominant fashion. Coming out, the offense just exploding in that first inning. That's exactly what this team needed. Coming into game 3, a battle between these two teams in the first 2 games, and it's Arkansas coming out on top.
8 runs on 8 hits. Crimson Tide shutout on just 3 hits this afternoon. And the Hogs take care of business. Alabama falls to 31-12, 8-10 in the SEC. The Hogs in business, another series win against an SEC foe. For Madison Shipman, I'm Roy Philpott. So long from Fayetteville.